Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am back again with Chris Riekert, my teammate, Team Mike's Bikes. Welcome back.
Hey everybody.
Want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Specialized. We had a chance to ride and review the new SL7 Tarmac. We had a first impression video that went up live on the channel a couple weeks back. Check out the link I'm going to post here if you missed that. But if you want to learn more about the bike, go check out Specialized.com. They got the full spec. You can read up all about it there. We're excited about coming out with a full review, so stay tuned for that in the next month or so. Let's dive into the content for today. And believe it or not, we have bike racing content.
Who would have thought?
NorCal Cycling. Who would have thought? What is this? This is the 2019 Cascade stage race. This is the criterium. Chris, this is your footage. Tell us about the stage race.
Yeah, I think this is the third stage of Cascade Classic from 2019. Cascade is a super prestigious race in the USA here. It's one of like the kind of long running great stage races. It's up in Oregon near Bend, but in 2018 it actually went away. They lost funding, and this is the first year back trying a few different courses. So they did a few cool things. For example, the road races, they put segments in that were all on gravel and dirt, which made for some pretty exciting times, as well as running out of neutral support wheels, as well as wheels from our own team car.
And this crit course is brand new too, is that right?
Exactly, yeah. And so the crit course is brand new as well. And this is a really great crit course. Like, I think when you look at this thing and number of corners and how dynamic it is, everybody ahead of time was thinking, man, this is going to be a great race. But here's what's happened. So to this point in the race, the teams have really come in full force. This is a race where real pro teams are at it, and they're racing as real pro teams do. Myself from Team Mike's Bikes, we only had 4 riders here, so we did not have a full squad, but we're still going up against the big teams like Floyd's of Leadville. Floyd's had 8 guys, and we're currently holding on to the GC, the overall title.
And they were the favorites probably for this stage with Travis McCabe.
Yeah, totally. With Travis McCabe there, as well as a really well-rounded team, they were kind of the favorites all throughout. They'd had great road races, and now when they come into a race like this, it's their responsibility to control the race.
Yeah, and then you guys, having only 4 riders, at this point you have somebody in the top 10, right? Is Cooper's in the top 10 at this point?
Cooper's in the top 10.
So like the GC ambition, that's impressive in this stacked of a field, but really at this point you're probably searching for a stage win maybe, or a good result, a breakaway, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to look for the silver lining, right? Floyd's has been doing a great job, and there are also a lot of other great teams. 303 Project, a Colorado-based team, is another great team for climbing. They've had a stage win. We are really shifting our focus. How do we get something out of this? Top 10s in the road races, stage win in the crit, something like that.
Yeah.
Which realistically, with big name sprinters like Travis McCabe there, who went to the World Tour here in 2020,
yeah,
we have to get to a breakaway, and that's really where this starts to come in.
And then I guess you'd be the designated guy for that, because it's a technical crit. You excel in technical crits, and you're trying to force the breakaway.
Totally. So let's hop ahead. Like, why don't we look and see how that plays out later in the race?
Let's do it. All right, Chris, so we have skipped ahead, but there's still 30 Ks left in this race. You've managed to get yourself up towards the front in about the best position as possible, and that's because Floyd's has taken the front. In fairness, they took the front at the beginning all the way to the end. And then you have a Volo at the front, too. So what I'm going to do is I want to pause it right here and show you why it's so difficult to attack in a stacked field like this, especially on a technical course like this. You have the first 7 riders or so are Floyd's guys, protecting their GC lead. Behind them, you have a Volo challenging that lead position. And then that leaves you in, like, I don't know, 18th wheel, which, by the way, you guys still have about 100 riders behind you, which is pretty impressive on a course like this. Sometimes it can be like a snake chasing its own tail.
Right. It's a huge field, and it's a ton of riders. So in this position, you're totally right. It's about as good as I'm going to get. And in order for me to be able to attack or get off the front or attempt to make a breakaway, that means in one straightaway, I have to pass 10 to 15 riders.
Probably closer to 15. And that's because they're not going to let you into their train, right?
No. And that's what great riders do, right? They ride together, and that's why it's so important for that, because you protect your teammates and make it so it's difficult for other riders to get through. And I think we were talking about it a little bit earlier, that one of the straightaways on this course just isn't long enough to do a move like that.
Yeah, so you're kind of stuck in your position, in the position you are right now. But that doesn't discourage you, right? I mean, You went all the way out to Oregon. You're still going to try to break away. So
Just like Brian would say,
go solo 'cause YOLO. Let's check out how that worked out for you.
So I've finally made it up towards the front, and I found a good moment to take a swing. Another breakaway compatriot here, and we've come over the top of the Floyd's train, and we're giving it everything we've got. And I think that's what's so tough about this right now. We are actually doing what ultimately I think becomes one of my fastest laps of the day. We get off the front and we're able to take the best lines on the course, where we're riding 32, 33 miles an hour for this entire lap. But behind us, Floyd's has now picked up the pace. They've got 8 riders on the front, and they want to make sure that we don't get away. So even though we get to take these great lines, it still doesn't much matter because we're being pursued by
8 Floyd's riders.
Right, 8 of the best guys in the country. So, that's one thing that you always really have to pay attention to. When you're off the front, you need to make sure, are you making headway? Are you getting away from people? Or is this an effort that maybe you want to wait for and try again later?
Yeah, and maybe if you had like 3 or 4 more guys with you who were equally motivated, this could have worked. But the problem is like on a course like this, there's almost a speed limit to these corners. They're so technical. You can see you're just on the edges of your tires like this entire lap, going as hard as you can. Your power meter wasn't working, unfortunately. It was about 10,000 watts that you averaged for this lap.
That was the average. Peak was higher, obviously.
But the point is like it's just so hard, and Floyd's made it that way for a breakaway to get away because they're tacticians. Like they're so good at this, and this wasn't by accident. They know exactly what they're doing.
But again, I think it's easy for us to be disheartened and to get beat up by this idea of like getting caught, which, good God, you inevitably always will. Like we said, Floyd's, as they're coming through here again after they've brought us back after one lap,
and Horner
and
too.
Sockless Chris Horner, they're doing the right thing. So pay attention to what they're doing, and I think in the future, like that's the strategy you should take.
Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you the next one.
That was stupid.